Hi, I'm going to explain the most common movements using your body. The first are flexion and extension. Flexion of the arms is bending of the arms. Extension of the arms is straightening them, and that goes for any body part. I can flex my leg, which is bending it, and I can extend it, which is straightening it. So flexing of the arms is bending, and you're actually decreasing the angle between the two body parts, the forearm and the upper arm. So this is bending is flexing, straightening is extending. Bending is flexing my leg. I'm decreasing the angle between two body parts, the quadricep and the calf, and extending is straightening. Flexing, extending. The next one is abduction and adduction. So abduction is taking away from. So abduction, if I were going to abduct my arms, I'd be taking it away from the midline of the body. And this is what the arms do. They go away from the midline. They're taking away from. So adducting is actually adding them back to where I started, and I'm adding them back to the midline of the body. Abduction, adduction. I'm adding them back for adduction. If I were to do this exercise and demonstrate with my legs, this would be abduction and adduction. Abduction, taking the leg away from the midline, and adduction. This takes a little balance with your legs, so if I were explaining to a patient, I would make sure they actually start in the correct position, which is 2 feet evenly, weight evenly distributed, so that they would be able to lift, and then knowing that the weight would go on the leg that was non-lifted when they're abducting and adducting. And also, they might even start with a retracted position in their shoulders, because standing up straight or sitting up straight, if they were performing this sitting down, is very important. So it's important to start in the correct position before you begin any movements. The next one is the circumduction, and that's just this if I were doing it in my arms. I'm actually moving my arms in a circle in a 360-degree motion. So where I start is where I end. And I can do this forwards or backwards. I'm circumducting because I'm moving in 360-degree circle. Rotating is a little bit different. Rotating, it may seem like you're moving 360 degrees all the way around like I'm doing my wrists, but I'm really not. See, these are ball and socket joints, my shoulders and my hips, and my wrist joints are hinge joints, so actually you're not able to move them. If you notice and try this, you won't be able to move them in a 360-degree, a full circle. Okay, so this is rotation of the wrist. And I could do this with fingers extended. And again, I could do this counterclockwise or clockwise. These exercises are good for warming up, the circumduction and the rotation before you begin strenuous exercise. Okay, so let's go over this again. The circumduction of my arms. I could even do it with my legs. The circumduction of my leg, because it's using the hip joint, which is a ball and socket joint. And again, the hinge joints were only rotating. They're only able to rotate. Okay, the next one is dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. I'm going to demonstrate this with my feet. Dorsiflexion is actually pulling the toes up and back towards the midline or the dorsal part of your body. That's why it's called dorsiflexion. So if I start feet planted on the floor and I lift my leg a little bit and pull my toes back towards my body, that's dorsiflexion. Plantar flexion is actually, I would start pointing my toes, tell my patient to point my toes and point downward. That's plantar flexion. You know, the plantar part of our foot is the sole, so point downward with our toes. That's what I would say. The next ones are protraction and retraction. Again, when you're instructing a patient to start any exercise, a good idea is to show them what retraction looks like. Shoulders a little bit back, and that's what retraction is. This is more of a full retraction where I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. But I would say chest up, shoulders back, and this is a good position even to do some rowing. So I'll pick up some weights and show you protraction Retraction, I'm starting from a slight retraction position. Protraction is when I'm putting my arms out in front, and you sort of get this rounded almost, not your back, but your rounded shoulders. So I'm protracting my shoulders, I'm retracting my shoulders, protracting and retracting, where I'm reaching back as far as I can with bent elbows. That's a retraction of the shoulders. Protraction, retraction. Those are used mostly for shoulder rehab exercises. And the last thing is supination and pronation. I'm going to grab the weights again because while I show you the supination, which is actually palms up and face up. You can also do, you've probably seen this, or maybe you work out too with weights. If you're deadlifting and you're going to lift, this is a protraction that you're performing. Shoulder protraction when you're lifting the weights. Okay? Pronation is the last one, and I would be face down. So you would tell the patient to be face down, palms down, and that's pronation position. That's it. I hope that helped. Thank you.